This is part 3 of modeling the Cutaway hotel booth, and here's our progress so far. We've got our basic room with a plant and a desk and this wall piece, and we're going to continue, and let's focus on the desk. Make these computers and whatever else we see. We only have this one reference image, so we have to use our imagination a little bit. To make this computer, we're just looking at a very simple shape, and then we're going to have a look at this stand. Okay, so let's come in to the desk and select that face and use that to build the computer. Snapping is off right now, so Shift D to copy it and pull it up. And I'm going to start scaling this in the X. And I'll scale it in the Y a little bit. And let's break it out. P. Object mode, select it. Set the origin to geometry, and let's rotate X 90. Like that. And let's start thinking about the approximate size of this. We're going to need 2 of them. This one's going to come over here. And let's look from the front and edit mode and wireframe. Think about whether or not we want to use snapping. We might want to. I'm going to switch to vertex. Grab these vertices. Turn on snap to increment. Make sure this is on. Let's try this. Not too worried about. Might be a bit wide in order to fit 2 of them, so I think I'm going to just bring this in by 1, 2, 3, and I might take this and go 1, 2, or maybe I'll bring it to here. It doesn't really matter too much, so if you're not following me exactly, don't worry. Is there any chance? No, it's pretty low down, so I was thinking it might be in line with something here. If I did bring it up, see the bevel gives us a bunch of lines, it's hard to tell. So let's look in solid view. That's going to be too high off the desk. What we can do is we can keep that selected and shift and click well, we can shift and keep shift and clicking and then shift H and have just that stuff there. So now if we go control 1, we can see that's too far high off the desk. And maybe it does need to have slightly different dimensions. Let's select this. I'm going back in the wireframe and look at this. Maybe I do want to pull these down a couple. Alright. I take the whole thing, slide it down to wherever I would think. Just a little bit off the desk. I could start with that anyhow. Let's go into edit mode, select it, and look from the side. Go back in the wireframe and think about the thickness. Let's extrude it out a couple. Try that, see if that's thick enough for us. It just might be, but it might. Yeah, it's pretty thin. Okay. Polys are a little discolored, so select it all and control N. That's probably too much bevel on there anyhow. So let's go with something like that for now. Okay, position wise, a little bit in from the edges there. This one's not even the same, so I don't think we got to worry about it too much right now. It looks a bit thin to me. Now that I'm thinking about it. Let's just bring it forward a tiny bit. Do whatever you like at this point. Alright, wow. Computer monitor is done. Don't even have to make the front. Now this stand, again, it's hard to tell, but it looks like we got a piece coming up. We got a base, and maybe that's it. It does look a little bit like this is angled, but I don't think that's a great idea to do. It might not be, it might just be the way the diagram looks. So why don't we do this? Go into edit mode, and in face selection, grab this face, Shift D. Yeah, that's what happens. I'm gonna undo that and turn off snapping. Make sure I don't have. Yeah, okay. Now I'm gonna do it. Shift D. All right. I'm gonna hit S to scale. Start pulling it down. Now it's flush against the surface. I'm gonna make it a separate object. P. Set the origin of geometry on that. And just think about this. Now we could look from the front of the wireframe, and we can snap if we want, using a lot of that, and I think that's great to get used to that. What if we take this and snap it to there, and this and snap it to there? And even this, how high up does it come? Not very high. How do I snap it to there? And this piece, well, let's bring it down. I'm not sure what I'm going to do here. I have an idea. If I select those 2 points, I could try from the side, just extruding them. We could try solidify again. And then I can, make sure that it contacts with the desk. Let's extrude and come out in front of the monitor, like maybe that much. I don't know for sure. Let's look in solid view. Is that too wide on the back? Let's look. Looks narrower to me than that. Let's look from the front of wireframe and just see about this. Now, these points aren't in line, are they? See this point here? What's that? That's that front point. It doesn't seem in line with the back point. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all of these. Well, I could just select this point because I got snap. I could just do that. And this one, they're in line. I don't know how that happened and why, but it did. Now, what if I take these and just bring them to that point there? Or that, is that better shape? Alright, let's turn off snapping. And look at this piece. Let's try the solidify modifier with even thickness on. And we may get some weird stuff going on. We could try going in the other direction. I could try just 1. And instead of -1. Shift H just to look at that. Alright. Now, let's try putting the solidify above the bevel. And now you can see we have the bevel back on this. It's not an overly nice bevel, but let's go Alt H, bring everything back. Okay, so we're not quite there yet. This doesn't come up very high on the monitor, which is okay. I think we want to be able to see the monitor above the desk, but I feel like it's closer to the desk than I've got it. So let's look from the side. I think if I put on snap, I don't think it's going to work that well because that bevel's on. Maybe if I turn the bevel off with the eye, it might snap better. I don't know if this is going to snap very well. To increment. Let's go in Z, G, Z, and just see if I can it'll snap, but to the same increments. If we do that, let's lower down. Let's look in solid view. That seems a little bit more reasonable to me. Let's turn the bevel back on. Is this thick enough? Yeah, I could go with something like that. Just wonder if this needs to be a bit thicker. And does it make contact nicely? Let's take this and Shift H and go in. Okay, so because I haven't applied it, I can't get rid of that bottom face. So I'm going to go ahead and apply that solidify. Make sure I'm on the right one. That's it there. Now I can come in and I can take this bottom face and I'll delete that. And hope. Now, I see I've got some weirdness here. Let's look right from the side. Let's get rid of that. Let's see. I'm going to leave that bottom face on so I don't have to deal with that stuff. It's just one face. It's not going to cause a problem. Alt H will bring everything back. Let's have a look at this. And is this piece resting on the desk? That is the question. Let's take that and Shift H so I can look from the back. It looks like it's pretty close. It looks pretty close, but maybe it's not. Seeing the back bevel. Alright, so I'm going to, maybe we can snap these things to face it. Oh, Jesus, don't do that. Turn off snapping. Pull it down. Now we're talking. Alt H, bring that back. And that can probably stay right there. Okay, let's take these two things and we'll give it a test. I'm gonna pull it over. Shift D and just by eye put the other one there. You know, they're not perfectly spaced. And they might be too far forward. I think they gotta come back a ways. So I'll select this piece and this one and this one. And just pull them back to where I feel comfortable. Well, I'm not going to be able to see that stand depending on the angle. So, let me take it back and pull up a little bit. You know what? They look like they're almost halfway. Shift and click like that. That could work. They're bolted on. Keyboard, what to do? Well, let's just start. And the way I'll start is I will take a piece from this. Maybe this one. Shift D, pull it forward. And down. I'm going to select this edge and just pull it forward and start getting the approximate shape that I would want. Looks like it's probably equal to the width of the keyboard. Sorry, monitor. Let's select a piece and Control N, P to make a new object. Select it and set the origin of geometry. And let's, you can just H to hide this stuff. I hid the keyboard too, didn't I? Where did it go? Ah, there it is. Oh, it's just so low. It's so flush with the desk. Now we can hide that and hide that. I should be able to find that. There it is. I don't know if I like it that. We'll give it some thickness to see though. Control 1, A, we got it selected. I want to do a snapping thing. Well, we'll see. Let's turn on snapping to increment, and let's just move it there. Yeah, I'm getting confused by the blue lines. It's on one of the grid lines there. Yeah, I don't know about that snapping stuff. So let's just extrude and give it some thickness. I'll come up to that grid line and see if that's too thick. Doesn't look too thick. Might be even too thin. How do we want to do this? I think it needs to be, I just want to check something. Very close to the edge. Good. That's what I wanted. I want to make it a little bit longer this way. So I'm going to face selection and grab that face. I'm not snapping. I'm just going to pull till I like the shape of this thing. Now just imagine a keyboard. Look at the keyboard in front of me. I was thinking I would raise I don't know what I want to raise. I sort of feel like I see like this part's raised and this part. I mean, yeah, the keys are kind of indented. I could just do one inset. I could inset that whole thing. I think I want to make it a bit thicker, like this. And then I was thinking I would just inset like this and push it down. It's just so boring. We'll try that though. E, and just pull it down. I'm not snapping anything, you know, like that. But I don't really like that. So I'm gonna go back to edit mode and undo that. And I think instead I wanted to do 2 edge loops, scale in the X and pull them out like that. And do another edge loop and pull it back here till I get similar thickness. I'm not doing this to any specification, not snapping in other words. And then I'll put another edge loop here, and then I do what I did with the desk. I can take these 2 faces and delete them and then rebuild. Okay, so this is good practice again. So I'm going to take these 2 points right here and then extrude them down to the level of that. So I'm going to use snap to vertex and hit E to extrude, pull them down and hover my mouse over that one so they're the same level now. I'll turn off snapping and I should be able to just select these 4 points. I have to make a face. Don't worry, the bevel's on so it looks a bit weird. Just make sure you get the right points. Like that. And then I can face an edge selection. I can just select that edge and this top edge. And you can try different bevels. I don't know, I just wanted to do that. I don't know if that's a good thing or not. And I suppose we probably need some buttons to make it look good. So what we'll do is we'll take this face, Shift D, S, and we'll shape a button, scale in the X, sort of get a square, make it a bit smaller, start positioning it. We'll just make some rows of buttons. So let's say I like that position, hit the period key to focus it on that. I'm going to hit E to extrude and it's going to pull it up. And then I'm going to delete that face, select a bit, Control L, and I'm going to flip it around. Rotate X 180. Sort of push it back down. So we got rid of the bottom face. I'm going to go P and make it a new object. Select it and set origin to geometry, and I'll come back on that. The bevel I may not be able to go back much, but when I come out, it's going to look like that. Okay. Now, I'm going to try an array in the X direction. Minimize that. Array in the X. And I'm going to go Control A, rotation and scale, just in case I had to. And I'm going to pull this until I get the right orientation. And then start upping the count and see what that's going to look like. Maybe I'll go for that and center it. That's so small, but alright, well, I'm not really too worried about getting this exact. Actually, I'm not sure I like that. I might want to do one more and just hit S. I'm just going to Shift D, copy them down. I'll do 3 rows. And just to be fancy, what we can do is we can go ahead and apply that. Since applied modifier was not first, it's because I have the bevel there. Same thing, see the bevel's there, and then that doesn't really matter. I'm going to go ahead and apply that. But for this last row here, I'm going to go into edit mode. And I am going to select that face. Let's hit the period key to zoom in. And this face, I'm going to delete those. And then in edge selection, I'm going to Shift Alt and click. That'll get the whole edge. And this one. And then go Control E, bridge edge loops. And then I'm going to grab these edges, Shift Alt and click those edges, X, dissolve edges. I don't need them. I don't know if that looks anything like another weird key. Or if it's long enough. I can join it to that one too. Doesn't really matter. I'm not even going to see it probably. Okay, so let's, because I've got, this is the same bevel I think as this, I could probably just join all this, Control J, and that'll be alright. And then I can Shift H and focus just on that. I can get rid of the bottom. I mean, an easier way is to just look from an orthographic view and in wireframe, box select just the very bottom, X faces. I should get them all. Alt H, bring that back. And I could even just select the keyboard and the desk, Shift H, and I could work on the placement of the keyboard, make sure it's on the surface of the desk. Just wait till the white just disappears. Alt H will bring everything back and see. Is that too far from the monitor, or is that okay? I think it's okay. So we need 2 of them. So Shift D, we'll just do it by eye. It's not going to be perfectly placed. They do seem awfully close to the front of the desk. But all that can be moved later on, that's fine. Cool. Alright. I'm just wondering if that desk is too far down as I look at this. No, it is a good distance down, isn't it? Maybe not quite that far, like, you know, if he's looking from roughly this angle here. Yeah, it looks like it comes up a bit. I could fix that. Let me have a look from side view. We could simply grab this stuff and we could pull it up, couldn't we? Do I want snapping on for this? We could try. Just come up as much as you want. Don't worry about the computers and everything. Oh, that looks better. This is going to make it better. So let's go in wireframe, select the keyboards. Let's focus on them first. I'll go out of wireframe. Let's turn off snapping. Start pulling them up. And let's do the same for these guys. Yeah, sorry about that, but I have to make little adjustments here and there. Oh, much happier with that. Much happier. Alright, cool. I was wondering if those are thick enough, but yeah. Alright, so what else have we got here? What in the world is this? Like a little notebook. Something else I can't tell. I think it makes sense that these are pieces of cardboard or paper. I don't think I'm going to bend anything. And this is like an envelope of some sort. I think what I would do for this is I would make a plane with a little bit of thickness and I'd array it. So it's a lot of polys, but I don't particularly care. So let's see what we can do. I just like to take pieces I already have and use them. They're in the right orientation, pretty much. Okay, so how big are these pieces of paper? Okay, let's zoom in on that. Let's make it its own object. Let's start with that. I'm not going to snap. Let's just hit E to extrude, give it a tiny bit of thickness. On the other hand, I could use solidify, but that might be alright. I think that's too big. So let's select it all and just S to scale it. That still may be too big. It's not that thick, but let's just try an array. That'll make it really, organized. Let's array in the Z. A little bit. Let's get rid of the X. Now, do I want 1, 2? Let's just increase the count. Watch your polys go up. It doesn't really matter too much. Yeah, it might be hard to render that. Maybe I can make them thicker, like they're cardboard pieces almost. I could go with that, and then we could angle one out a little bit so it's out of order a bit. You can make it thicker. I wouldn't mind making the pieces thicker even. We could try and see, scaling the Z again. Make it a little bit more visible, like that. If we did the slightest amount of, no, that's too much. Okay. 0.01. Would that? This may not be what we want to do anyhow. Nah, I don't think I'm going to do that. Well, we could try this. We could apply this, and then we could come in and we could select a piece of one of them if we can, and then go Control L to get the whole thing, and then we could try just sliding it out a little bit. Like that. Let's just look at that. No, it shows that one. I don't know why. And rotate the Z. No, just that one. different color. Let's leave it at that. Not my favorite piece there. Okay. Do we want to put the text on there just for the fun of it? I don't have very many good fonts though. Let's select that face and let's go Shift S, cursor to select it. Bring the 3D cursor right there. And Shift A and come down to text. Where's my text? There's my text. Rotate X90 and we'll set the origin to geometry. Let's bring that in. And then come into nice and scale. Look from front. And just go ahead and edit mode. That's one thing that I dislike about this. Where's my text? Let's bring it out so we can see what we're doing. Right to the end, and we'll type reception. Okay. Come over to the text field, and let's. I want to choose horizontal alignment center, and origin of geometry again. And there we go. Let's scale it in. How big is it? It's pretty small. I'm just going to use that font right there. That's my default font. B font, apparently. Let's go ahead and start adding some bevel. Up the resolution by 1. It's pretty round. Oh, it's okay though. Let's just have a look and see if it's roughly centered. There we go. Reception. Reception. Yep. Cool. Yeah, coming along. Okay, that'll do it for now. See you next time.